Join us every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern for the Ask Sister Layla live call-in and answer show. Please join Ustada Layla Nashiba. If you have any questions in regards to this theme, call in at 862-370-2838. Now streaming on various platforms right here on Sunnahfollowers.
He said, pray as you see me pray. Utter these words that you hear me say. Based on the Sunnah, worship Him, just follow Him.
Okay, can you guys hear me on there? Inna alhamdulillah, wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. I'd like to welcome everybody to our series, the Maqasidic Tafsir. Now, we spoke about at 6:30 today. Remember, we were speaking about what about if you don't know the details? Now, this class that I am teaching, the Maqasidic Tafsir, this is one of those subject matters that fall in that category. What I'm teaching y'all here in this class is not basic. This is the science of the Quran. This is a class that you probably would never hear about unless you were going to school to be a scholar of the Quran. So this class falls in that category of what if I don't know the details of something? Because we're not required as Muslims to know the details of the science as to how the scholars of the Quran use the Quran to help you. But it's good to know this because, again, as we spoke about earlier, the strong believer is more loved by Allah than the weak one. And the more you learn, the more details you learn about this religion, the greater and stronger your faith becomes. And the more faith you have, you're able to handle the trials of life. We were just speaking with one of the new shahadas here. May Allah bless her that I have. I love her so much. She's one of my students and she's so sweet. She's so intelligent. She's like a sponge. She sucks everything up. And, you know, right now we were trying to tell her, I know she feels she lost her parents not too long ago, a year ago. And that's hard for any of us to deal with, losing a relative. You losing your parents too. That's so hard. And oftentimes, if we hear someone else speaking with their parents, it kind of makes you sad because you think, oh, wow, I can't call mine. Or I know how she feels because I've had to deal with that in my profession before I retired. Some of my clients were messed up behind that because they were developmentally disabled anyway. But I had to, they would freak out if other clients had parents come visit them and they knew that they didn't have anyone. So I understand how she feels. And like I was telling her, the longer, the more you learn about Islam, you will find it easy to accept the decree of Allah. Death is the hardest thing for us to accept as Muslims, death of anyone, you know, but you'll eventually get there too, where you'll be able to say, well, you know, from Allah do we come, unto Allah do we return. No one is meant to live forever. This is Allah's decree, you know. And one of the things that helps us to deal with death, the prophet said, look at the good, you know, like I was saying in her case, you know, your parents lived a good life. You know, they were able to achieve the things they wanted in this world. And subhanAllah, you were there with them to the end. And the good thing will be that that might be a credit in your favor when you're in the grave, you know, subhanAllah. So I understand how she feels, you know, but as she learns more about the religion, especially the qadr of Allah, she will find it easier to handle that type of hardship, you know, like we all do as life teaches us more and more lessons. So this topic falls in that category of extra details that you don't have to know, but they will be of benefit to you, because learning how the scholars find solutions for you will help you to find them for yourself. You will be able to look at something, a challenge that you are facing in your personal life, and instead of just picking up the Quran, reading and wondering why come you're not finding anything that relates to you, you will know how to do it. You will look at the title of the chapter and realize that the title of the chapter gives you a clue, you know, as to what Allah is going to be speaking about. And you'll be able to look to see if the surah or the chapter was revealed during the Mecca period. Because if it was the Mecca period, you want to look to that, because those are words from Allah strengthening our faith, helping to develop us as Muslims. And then you'll be able to say, well, I need some encouragement from the Medini period, the Medina period, because that's where Allah brought down the laws and the rules. So all of this should be helpful to each and every one of us individually, you know, whereas you won't have to go and call somebody on the phone and say, hey, Sheikh, or hey, Sister Layla, can you give me a surah of the Quran? Tell me a surah of the Quran that might help me to deal with this. You'll be able to pick up the Quran and look on your own based on the title of the chapter, the period it was revealed, and then you'll be able to read each verse. You will understand that each verse in that chapter relates to whatever the topic is. And you'll be able to read each verse and break down the meaning of it. Use the science of connectivity to see how it connects to the next verse and the verse before it, and how that chapter connects to the chapter before it and after it. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So even though this is extra knowledge that you don't need, it's extra knowledge that will be of benefit to you and can help you to grow closer to Allah and strengthen your faith, where you can become the strong believer. Because as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the strong believer is more loved by Allah than the weak one. And that's why, because he or she can handle life and its tests, its disappointments, and its disasters with dignity, humility, and balance. Does that make sense to everybody? Geechee, Layla, and Mina.
Yes,
Okay.
I hear you. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So today what we're going to do, let me put that PowerPoint up. Yeah. By the way, guys, I know if you guys see me freezing up, I want y'all to check. Anybody's got computers, I just realized what it is, called Windows has now put this new thing. If you guys look at your computers, I see it. It says, get the latest features and security improvements. It's a new Windows update. that is installs on your computer, and you have to click it, turn it on. If you want the newest updates to your computer, you have to turn it on. And then after you turn it on, you do like I'm getting ready to do now, hide it. And then that should stop it. Okay. Windows, always doing something. All right, so let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen. Okay. And tonight, this is the book written by Sheikh Karim Abu Zaid. Hold on, wrong mouse. Tonight, we're going to be covering pages 143 to 146 of the book, or is it 149? I can't remember, but I think I got the right number, 146 of the book. It's going to close up this chapter. And what we're going to do is go over how the Quran interpreter or the Quran scholar will use the Quran and come up with goals that can be applied to you on an individual level or your community. So let's take a look. And again, it's the job of the interpreter, the Quran, the scholar of the Quran, to do that. Say, for example, you call the imam or the scholar up, you got a problem in your personal life, or there's a problem in the community. Let's say, for example, the Muslims in our community are not getting along. We're divided. The Arabs, you have the Arabs on one side with their demands. You have the African Americans on another side, the Pakistanis on another side, the Bosnians on another side. You know, your Islamic community is divided. It's racism going on. We're not a brotherhood. We're not a sisterhood. So the imam will call the scholar of the Quran up and say, you know, I need some help. How are we going to bring this community together? Or how am I going to bring my family together or myself together? Well, it's the job of the Quran interpreter to present the Muslims with objectives and purpose that will lead to a goal that will be a solution to the community. And again, how is it done? Well, the Quran interpreter follows this system. Or say for yourself, you know, you're having a problem in your personal life, you know, dealing with your mother, your father, your in-laws. That's a big problem. A lot of us can't get along with our in-laws. So you need some advice, some help from Allah. So how would you go about that? Well, the first step is the Quran interpreter, or you yourself, you have to establish objectives that will generate purpose and will address the community's needs. If it's for an Islamic community, that the Quran interpreter has to come up with objectives and purpose that will help to address the needs. And of course, the way we do that is through the Quran and the Sunnah. Those are the only two sources of Islam. Remember, the only two sources of Islam is the Quran and the Hadith, not a fatwa. You don't go to Google. You don't go to Sheikh Google and type in, I'm having problems with my mother-in-law and my father-in-law and my in-laws. What solutions do you have for me, Allah? That ain't going to get it. You don't go to the Google and say, I'm having problems with my community. They're divided. They're not united. They hate each other based on race. No, you know, you have to use the Quran and the Hadith as your guidance, not a fatwa online. And one of the best surahs when it comes to community issues, Muslims getting along together, that applies to your in-laws too. Maybe there's a problem in the family. Maybe you ain't getting along with your brothers and sisters, your cousins, your in-laws. One good chapter is Surah Hujurat. Surah Hujurat, We're going to use that for example. This chapter of the Quran, it addresses morality. Allah sent down that chapter of the Quran to teach us how to get along with each other, how to live in an Islamic community and be brothers and sisters in faith, how to do away with racism, how to do away with that. It also teaches us how to get along with our family members. So this surah, it has an objective, and that's what the Quran interpreter or the individual is going to look for. You want to find a chapter in the Quran or chapters whose objective is how to develop morality, how to get along with others. So that's the first thing he's going to do, is look at that chapter. And then once you read that chapter, you're going to make an outline using pieces of evidence from that chapter of the Quran that will cause you to focus on a plan of action, or make an outline of what Allah is saying that will help to guide you to purify your character and your relationship with others. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So on an individual level, you don't get along with your in-laws. Open up Surah Hujurat, pencil and paper in hand. Come up with an outline from what Allah is saying about how to get along with your relatives, how to get along with the Muslims in your community. That will help you to come up with a goal and a plan. Because again, this surah shows us how to deal with people who are bad. It tells us how to deal with people who stick their noses in other people's business. Maybe you got a nosy mother-in-law. Well, Surah Hujurat tells us how to deal with people who are nosy, how to deal with people who make fun of others. Your community, they look down. You got the Arabs looking down on the African Americans. You got the African Americans looking down on the Mexicans. You know, so Surah Hujurat tells us what to do, you know, and when you're around people, other Muslims that look down on others. So again, it's the job of the Quran interpreter to make an outline of objectives that address whatever the problem is. And again, from there, he'll be able to come up with a goal as to how we can better ourselves individually or as a community. So that's the first thing. Find a surah whose objectives address what your problems are. You sisters who are having problems, oh yeah, I got them in here. And they already typing questions. I'm letting you sisters know I ain't answering those questions. This is a class. This is not the Q&A show. You sisters are having problem in your marriages. You're having problems with your co-wives. Okay, go to Surah Nisa. That's a chapter that addresses women. Okay, you're going to read it. Right, make an outline of what Allah is saying about how to get along with other women, or what your roles are as a woman, as a wife, what your role, what your husband's roles are as a man. And then the second thing is to indicate the intention behind whatever approach is that you're trying to establish. Okay, and again, whatever your intentions are should be based on what Allah is saying in that surah. Okay, and the understanding of the approach you're going to take should be the understanding that those original companions had. Did the original companions go around taking people's children from them? No. Did the original companions all have their wives living in the same house? No. Did the original companions do this? So your understanding of whatever objectives that you come up with from the Quran should be the same understanding that those companions had. And that's crucial. And then from those objectives that you've outlined, you want to make goals. Okay, well, my goal is this. Now that I see what my role is as a wife, I'm going to make it this my goal to no longer do that or to now do this. The proposed goal or objective should also be supported with evidence from that surah of the Quran. Okay? And it will help you to better your understanding of what your role should be as a Muslim woman. Are you guys following me? Am I making sense, Sister Mina? I'm trying to make this simple because I know in the book, I know it's hard to understand because it's written so differently. I had to rewrite it to break it down in layman's terms for you guys without all that Arabic and without all those big United Kingdom English words that you guys never use in America. Okay, so, and I want you guys to focus on some of these verses. We using as an example. Let me find my Surah Hujurat. Oh, wrong computer, wrong mouse. Listen to why I picked this surah. Say, for example, you're having problems in your community with Muslims getting along with each other, or say in the family, you don't get along with your in-laws. Why did I suggest Hujurat? Because the focus is on Islamic morality. For example, listen to what Allah says in this verse of Surah Hujurat and the interpretation, the meaning. If two groups of people amongst the believers fall into fighting, then make peace between them both. Y'all see that? So this is a surah. This is an objective. This is one of the verses which can be an objective. So if you're an imam of a masjid and your community is divided based on race and stuff, they're fighting based on race, you have to do what it takes to bring peace between them. If you're fighting with your in-laws, you have to come up with a scheme or a plan that's going to bring peace. Also, Allah says in this surah, here's another objective that you can make for yourself. He says, oh, you who believe, do not let one group make fun of another group, because it may be that the latter group is better than the former. And do not let some women make fun of other women. It may be that the latter is better than the former. Nor go around defaming each other, nor insult each other by using offensive nicknames. Okay, so this would be another objective. And here, I'm going to make a goal from this, where I'm going to have to let my community members know that you cannot use derogatory terms with each other. The African Americans cannot go around calling the Arabs towel heads. The Arabs cannot go around calling the Africans bad names. Okay? The women can't go around making fun of that sister over there because she doesn't have a nice car. You can't go around making fun of that sister over there because she's a convert and you're not. So this would, based on this objective, the objective that's meant from this verse of the Quran, I can make a goal. I can come up with a purpose and a goal for my community. Or if I'm dealing with my in-laws on a personal level, I'm not going to make fun of my sister-in-law anymore. I'm going to have to stop looking down on my in-laws, calling them trailer park people, because their lifestyle is not like mine. I'm going to stop using offensive nicknames. My sister-in-law doesn't like to be called big nose. I'm going to have to stop that. It offends my niece to call her fat, to call her a glutton. So I'm trying to give you guys examples as how using just from this one surah, how when you read it, you can come up with objectives that you can apply to yourself and your communities. Also, here's another verse. Allah says, "Oh, you who believe, avoid suspicion, because some suspicions are sins. And don't spy on one another. Don't backbite each other. Would you like to eat the flesh of your dead brother? You would hate it." So here you learn another objective. I'm going to stop being suspicious of my husband. I'm always thinking when he goes over to his mother's house that he's there for a reason other than what he says. I have to stop thinking that maybe my mother-in-law is trying to set my husband up with another wife. Okay? I'm going to stop spying on the people in the community. I'm going to stop, dipping my nose in other people's business. So this could be a third objective you come up with. And from that objective, what is my goal? To stop being suspicious, to stop questioning the movements and intentions of others. So the Quran interpreter or the individual person should reveal the benefits of the objectives that you come up with from that surah to yourself or to the community. And also speak about, how it'll make you better and how it'll improve your ethical and moral standards with each other. Are you guys following me? Am I making sense? Am I making this clear?
Yeah, that's clear.
Okay, because I had to rewrite all this. Okay. And then after coming up with objectives, to get those objectives, you have to do just like I did here. The interpreter or the individual person, yourself, if you're reading a surah, you have to look at the contents of that chapter. Read each verse, word by word, and ponder the meaning. And then when you go to the next sentence, look at how that sentence connects with the former. And from that, you come up with your goals like I just did. My goal, I'm not going to spy. My goal, I'm not going to backbite. My goal, I'm not going to be suspicious of my husband. Okay? And again, if you follow this, this is how you verify what you're reading in the chapter, because verification and support are right there in the body. Those sentences, like I just went over, they support each other. They were 4 different verses of Surah Hujurat, but all 4 verses supported what? Morality. All 4 verses addressed Islamic morality, how to get along with others. So the sentences in the chapter will support each other and in turn reflect the theme of the chapter. Like I'm telling you sisters here with all these personal problems, you're unhappy in your marriages. When you read Surah Nisa, don't just sit there and read. Ponder what Allah is saying. Make an outline. Get your pencil. Get your tablet. What is the objective of the first sentence or the first ayat? Write it down. The first ayat addresses backbiting. The second ayat addresses spying and being suspicious. The third addresses, and just write a list. And then you will look at them and say, wow, look how it all comes together. These are things that I have to make sure I'm not doing. These are things I have to stay away from as a Muslim. That's how you can identify the means of a surah and also an objective and set a goal for yourself too. Okay? So each one of those verses of the Quran has a theme that will relate to the general objective of the chapter. And when you sit down and take it sentence by sentence, like I just did in that example, and look at it, you can come up with your own personal goals, okay, that can better your relationship with others and with Allah. Listen to what one of the early scholars or interpreters of the Quran said. He said there are essentially two elements to any type of work. The first is an aim, which is an objective or a goal. The aim is the goal behind performing whatever the work is. And then the second element is the framework. So the purpose, or how I'm going to go about attaining that goal. This is the technique that we're using. This is a technique that the scholars use, not just with the Quran, but also with the Hadith. Like I told you guys, my thing is Hadith. The same science is applied. You guys want to know, what is the objective, Sister Layla? Can a woman wear makeup? Okay. The same process. Okay. We look through the Quran first. And then we address any and all hadiths that are speaking about beautification and all of that. Okay. And then you set a goal. So it's the same process you use even with the hadiths. Okay. Goals and their means are interrelated and they complement each other. So that's why the scholars, a true scholar, he thoroughly examines a surah of the Quran to generate a respective means that can lead to you achieving goals, like I just did with Hujarat. The goal is to unite my community, to stop the Arabs from looking down on others and the African Americans from looking down on others, to bring us all together, let us know we're one ummah. Or to bring my family together. I can't get along with my in-laws. They didn't think I was good enough for their son. And so we got to come together and learn to accept each other. Okay? And once you establish those goals, that's when the interpreter sorts them out, organizes them, and then proceeds to implement them. And that's the same with yourself. When you see what your objectives are, no backbiting, no looking down, no slandering, no being suspicious, then you want to set a plan together to carry it out. And that's called the executable plan of action. And to do that, to put your plan in motion, you have to first identify the problem, which that's your objective. The problem is my mother-in-law is always dipping in my business. Okay? Let's say that's one objective. She's always in my business. Then the interpreter compares the issues that's facing the community or the person to what Allah said. Allah says, mind your own business. Allah says, don't spy on one another. Allah says, don't backbite each other. Would you like to eat the flesh? So you're going to bring the verses of the Quran or the hadiths to support whatever your objective is. So I'm going to present this, have this presented to my mother-in-law, or present this to my community, that we have to stop spying on each other. Stop dipping in other people's business. Okay? And then you can talk about it. You can sit down and talk about the problem with the other person. Okay? And then let's put together a goal, a means to how to attain this goal. Well, maybe we'll start having more get-togethers as a community. I'm going to have more potluck dinners. We're going to come together as a community every Friday for potluck. so we can interact with each other and see that, even though we come from different cultures, different backgrounds, we're still the same, that Islam unites us. Or I'm going to have, just me and my mother-in-law. We don't get along, but we're going to start just going out together for lunch, just me and her. So she can see that I'm not the bad person that she thought I was. Okay? So you produce an executable action plan that will help to better whatever the problem is, and then hopefully rid the community or rid yourself of it. So that's how we use the Quran, guys, to help better and change our life. Do you guys understand that? I tried to make this as simple as I could. That's why a lot of you, oh, good, Nia, you can understand. Does it make sense, Nia? Did I do it good, Nia? It makes sense? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, you did very good. I got it. I definitely got it.
Yeah, because a lot of people, like the brother here, brother, not Amir, I'm sorry. Brother, I can't pronounce your name. It looks like Amir, but I know it's not because it's more letters. But like the brother here said, he's been Muslim all his life. This is not a convert. But he says whenever he gets depressed, he reads the Quran, but the Quran doesn't help him. He doesn't find solace in it. People will say, oh, go read the Quran. How many of you hear that from the Imam? Go read the Quran. And you say, I read the Quran all the time. Well, you're not reading it. You're not utilizing the Quran the correct way. You have to find a chapter that's going to address your issue. And then sit down with a notebook and an ink pen and read each verse and figure out what the objective of that verse is. And when you finish the whole surah, then you look at your notebook and say, wow, I didn't know this. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you couldn't be suspicious. I didn't know that I shouldn't look down on people. I didn't know, okay, now I see some things I'm doing wrong. Now I see some things about myself that I wasn't aware of. Now I need to make a change. That's how you put the Quran in practice, and the Hadith too. But again, when you come up with those objectives, your understanding of them must match the companions. You can't do like these brothers down there in Texas is doing, getting it twisted, thinking that they can tweak the Quran. You can't tweak nothing. Your understanding has to be like the originals. You can't tweak your own stuff. Okay? All right. Any questions or comments? Okay, the brother here said it's very clear, Sister Layla. I've never done that before. He said, I read the Quran in Arabic. Okay, let me ask you one thing, brother. Do you speak Arabic? And if you do you speak Fusha? Do you speak the language of the Quran? I'm not talking slang. I ain't talking about speaking Palestinian, Khaliji, Egyptian. Do you speak Fusha? No. Okay, that's the problem. Read the interpretation of the meaning. Okay, and then how can you set objectives and goals if you don't even understand what you're saying? You understand what I'm saying? Yes, so you can use a Tafsir book to help you. Yes, a Tafsir book to help you to see what the objective of that surah is. What the theme of that surah is. And then what the objective of each verse is. If you're using a Tafsir book, that Tafsir book will give you the objective of each verse. Start doing it that way. You just don't want to sit there and just sing Arabic and don't even know what you're singing. Okay? Do it this way. Ponder it. This is how the companions did. The companions pondered They didn't just read the Quran. They pondered the meaning of it. They broke it down word for word. Plus, they experienced it. They knew what happened to cause Allah to say what he said. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, the tafsir helps me a lot to help me to break down and find the objective. So now I know how, like, the objective and then how to break it down into my life.
Exactly. See, you get, yeah, that's what, yeah. Now that you guys got your tafsir book, this should be easier for you. Yes, just each sentence, the objectives, and then you can see how to better yourself and what to change about yourself. That's how you become the strong believer. Now do y'all see? This is not stuff you have to know. But now do y'all see what we talked about earlier today? Even though you don't have to know the details of everything. But the more you know, like we said, knowledge is power. Now that you got the knowledge of how to read and implement that Quran, you can read it in a different way. And you'll make you a stronger believer where you can handle the trials of life better. And by the way, what's your name? Brother Ahmed, may Allah bless you. Thank you for the coffee today. Yeah, I meant to tell you earlier, I got your coffee card, and may Allah bless you. Thank you for the coffee. I didn't have to buy it. The student bought it. Yes, they delivered it, and it came on time, and yes, it was good. Only reason why I allowed you, because you live here in Cleveland. You know my brothers. Hello. Don't get no ideas, guys. This brother's a part of the community here. He knows my brothers. I don't know him, but he knows my brothers. So he sent me some coffee as a gift. Yeah. May Allah bless you. I mean, yeah. I don't give my address to men. Nope. Or phone number. Nope. He's different. Yeah. He said he knows Mukhtar too. He said, I'm cool. I know Mukhtar, her brothers, everybody. You know Carmetta too? You know her ex? He said, which one? Oh, I'm sorry. That wasn't nice. Carmetta, he said, which one? Oh, brother. I said, you know Carmetta, her ex? He said, which one? Brother Ahmed is his name. Yeah, mashallah. All right, any other questions? He said, yeah, she's a nice sister. Yeah, she is. Yeah, her son. Oh, yeah, he knows them. Yeah. Yeah, he goes to Ukbar. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Yeah, Masjid Ukbar. That's right, in the house. Yes, tomorrow. What is tomorrow, y'all? Wednesday? Oh, no, that's Thursday. Yes, Dr. McBride is Thursday. Yes. I can notice a lot of hits. You know, Dr. McBride last week, guys, he talked about, he's a doctor, a neurologist. And that's a neural, whatever you call them, to do the brain. And that's what he talked about, strengthening the brain. And yes, he's going to talk about it this week too. You liked his, I can tell you guys liked it because look how many hits he got. When you guys go to my YouTube channel, click on shorts. Look at the shorts that he got a lot of people that really benefited from his the shorts I made on him talking about the brain, the right brain, part of the brain and the left. Yeah, he's going to do a part 2 this Thursday. It's not tomorrow, it's Thursday. Oh, did I? He said I put on one of the shorts Wednesday. Did I? I probably made a mistake. I do all this myself. Yeah, but his class is Thursdays at 6, not Wednesdays, Thursdays at 6. Yeah, he's going to be talking about In fact, I'm going to do a thing. He's talking about the frontal lobe, whatever that is. Yeah, his lecture Thursday is going to be on the frontal lobe of the brain. Is he going to talk about the stem? That's a good suggestion. When you come to us on Thursday, we can say, hey, write that down, somebody. The sister here is asking, is he going to talk about the stem? That is a good, yeah, I'll ask him. We'll see if he can do the stem too. Yeah, you like lectures like that too? I did too. I really enjoyed his lecture. I enjoyed Brother Muhammad's class today. How many of y'all liked Muhammad Ziyada's lecture today? Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, Santisa. Remind me, Santisa, to ask him on Thursday to talk about the stem. Yeah. Yeah, I liked Brother Muhammad Ziyada's class. It was pretty good. That was a good topic, marriage with the Muslim youth. Yeah. Well, alhamdulillah, if you guys enjoy learning Islam and its truthfulness, please support us. We are a nonprofit organization. We are a 501(c)(3). And as you guys can Google and see, we've been around since 1986 on this internet. I've been streaming and I've been doing these classes live since 1986. We're not newbies. We've been doing it longer than anybody. Okay. And alhamdulillah, we are nonprofit, which means I'm not affiliated with a masjid. We are an online Islamic school, free of charge. But we need your donations. That's how we survived all these years. The women, we paid for it ourselves. But now that we're expanding out over the internet, we need donations to stay, streaming like this. Because everything, when I first started this in 86, the internet was new and the internet was free because it was experimental. But now it's not free. Everything is money. So please support us. All right. Yeah, you too, Sister Santisa. Okay, guys, I'm going to log out for tonight. Inshallah, the class is tomorrow. We have the 6:30 class and the 9:30 class. Okay. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Have a good night.